and welcome. Christmas is coming soon, and we know we are all packaging our gifts. Why not we make some tags to go on those packages? So I'm going to make 10 tags here with different levels um, of the design. Some are easy, some are a little time consuming, but they're all fun. And I'm using a bunch of die cuts, and because I really wanted to show you a lot of ideas so you could choose one or two or all of them to make your next tag. And I've gone ahead and also selected a color palette, and I'm going to keep the color palette consistent for all my 10 tags. And I'm also using this designer paper. I've used three different notepads. One is called the Country Christmas, the Festive Farmhouse, and Ho Ho Ho. And I've chosen three different papers from that, and I'm using the red side of that last paper. I have sped up the video here because this is a very long video. I am starting to make my tags, and for the tags I die cut some of the white cardstocks using that nested rectangle die. I'm trying to see the center of the tag, and once I find it, I'm just going to cut angles or diagonally, kind of eyeballing it that they are even from both sides to create the tag. And then all that was left to do was to die cut that using that as a template on all the other cardstocks. And then I added a hole on top using a hole punch and some ribbons through that. Now I do not tie my ribbons. The reason I don't tie them is because I like to tie my tags to the bow of the crescent. And then I've also chosen just a few stamp sets here. These are all for the sentiments. Those are the only stamps we're going to use. Now, to start off this, I am starting off with this pine branch. I think it's called Greenery Die, and I've cut that in two different colors of green. And I'm going to create a circle on the right edge of like with a little bit of an overhang on the tag. Now, I have to apologize. I did not realize my video stopped, so I couldn't film the entire tag that I created, but I promise you it was very, very easy. So I just added those greeneries on that circle, just following that circle that we had drawn. And then I took these are holly berries from the set called Holly 1, and I have cut that using red cardstock, and I'm just going to place them in threes, some places, some twos, and some one. And that is all that was to make that wreath. And then I'm just going to cut away the overhang. I've also taken the Joy die cut, and I'm going to adhere that on top of this wreath. And that just finished the first tag. Wasn't that easy? Now the second one is so simple and so easy, I promise you. This you can literally mass produce as many as you can. I'm using the winter mini dies, and I've chosen the Santa hat, and I've cut that using red and deep coral cardstock, and I have built them. I also need a sentiment, but the sentiment was very long, so I'm kind of cutting the sentiment where I want it. Just doing a very simple stamp surgery. Don't worry, the stamps will still function. When you have to use the sentiment long, just put the stamps together and they will be fine. And I'm going to use that sentiment. This one reads Holiday Blessing, and I'm going to emboss that onto a black cardstock using white embossing powder. Now, I'm only going to show embossing and adding gemstones and adding foam tape and all the stuff for the rest of the tags. I won't be showing actually because it will be, otherwise it will be a long video. I did take about 4 hours to create the video, to edit it to 21 minutes. So I'm sorry, it's a long video. If you're having some coffee, that's a great idea. And all I'm going to do is adhere these Santa hats to the white cardstock base. And I'm just using liquid adhesive directly. And I'm going to place that holiday blessing in the center and create a little bit of wonkiness to it using some foam tapes. And you can see I'm just adding some foam tapes. And as I said, some of the tags are really easy. Some are a little bit of work, but easy, still easy, not difficult at all, I promise you. And I just laid that, and that finished that second card. Now for the third one here, I'm using the tree dies, and I've cut that using three different colors. I chose the smallest of the trees for this particular tag. And then I'm going to create a snowbank, freehand cutting a snowbank with white cardstock. Now, if you had a die, of course, go ahead and use a die. I don't have a snowbank die, so I'm just going to freehand. And it's really easy. And to create some kind of interest to it, I am adding this distress oxide ink to the top edge of the snowbanks as well as to the tag itself to create a beautiful winter sky. I don't know if there's a minty winter sky, but hey, it's artist freedom, I suppose. So make whatever color you want for your sky. Anyway, and then all that was left to do was to adhere these snow banks to the tag. So for the first bank, I'm going to use foam adhesive at the bottom, and so that way it will give me some space to tuck in the second one directly onto the tag using glue. And then I'm just going to cut away the excess. Then all that was left to do was to adhere these trees to this um, to this background. I tried to put that tree in there, but for some reason I forgot and I have adhered that side to it. So and then I placed these trees in different heights to give it some depth. And once I was done with that, I added some colorful gemstone. Now these gemstones are very similar to the colors of these trees. So I'm just adding these gemstones in a scattering um, on the sky as well as a few on the tree just to create some interest to the card. And that finished the third one. Now for the fourth one here, I am choosing this large snowflake die and a craft card base, a tag base. And I've cut the snowflakes 3 times using a white cardstock. And while I'm adhering it, I'm also offsetting each of the snowflakes so that way we have a very full and dimensional snowflake. And I'm also adding a pearl. Now before I do all that, I'm just trying to see the position of my sentiment. And I've cut this joy the die cut used on a red cardstock. Now this joy also has a shadow, which is what we used for the first tag that we created using those pine branches. And then I'm going to adhere the snowflake and add this pearl in the center. Now before I add the joy, I am going to add some snowflakes to the background as well. And I'm just going to freehand draw some snowflakes. If you have a stamp, go ahead and stamp. But as I promised, I'm not using any stamps except for the sentiments. I thought it's easier to just draw some snowflakes freehand. And once I'm done adding these snowflakes, I'm also going to add some dots to create some falling snow to this background. So once I'm done with that, I will then put my sentiment. And I do need an additional sentiment for this. Not I need it, but I chose to add an additional sentiment for this tag. So I'm going to place this joy where I want it just to make sure that I know the positioning. And then I'm going to overlap the joy onto the sentiment that I've adhered using firm tape to the card base. So that looks like they're all one unit. And that finished that card. For the next card here, I'm using the Mr. and Mrs. Gingerbread. And I have created the Mr. Gingerbread. So this die actually cuts one gingerbread and it has multiple accessories that you can add to create your gingerbread man or woman. I have also taken this designer paper from Ho 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 and I'm going to cut that to the size of my tag. And then I'm just going to adhere that to the that white tag. And before I adhere that, I do want to punch the hole so I know exactly where the hole is. And then I'm just going to adhere this just using liquid adhesive to the white tag. Now this is a very simple card. All I did is adhere the gingerbread man on it with liquid adhesive and called it a day. Again, another easy, simple card, a tag to make. Moving on. For our next tag here, now this tag, from this point onwards, almost every tag that I'm making has a little additional work, but I promise you they're not difficult. They are quite easy. For this one, I've chosen the Winter Village die, and I've chosen a house from it, which I've die cut using red and coral. And I'm just going to add the coral, the red roof to the coral house. And I am just going to um, and then I've also die cut a round circle using a mint cardstock. I'm just trying to see where I can position my sentiment for this done. Now let's build a scene in this circle. I again freehand cut this snowbanks, this time a little tiny because I needed the scene to be tiny and cute inside this little circle. I do repeat words quite a few times, don't I? And then I'm going to adhere this house on the slope of the bank as if the house is sitting somewhere on the it's a winter day and there's a lot of snow all around the house. That's the idea. And then I'm creating trees surrounding that house from that same stamp set. And all that is left to do is, if you guessed it, adding snow. Then I'm going to add snow in the background. I'm also going to add these dots on the house as well as the trees. And then I'm scribbling some white ink onto the places where I think the snow would settle when it is snowing on a snowy day. I am adding some mint color from the top, and then I'm going to adhere this die cut or this seam to the edge, on the right edge of the tag. And I'm going to just stamp this directly, the sentiment directly to the bottom of the tag, and adhere this piece with some foam adhesive to give some dimension. And I really, really like this card. It turned out so cute. I will also use some pearl dots to the background to add some interest to the card. Also, I had a little black spot onto the tag. I needed to mask it. So what better way than adding pearls to take care of that? And you can see that scene just finished. Now for the next tag, we are going to cut another designer paper, do exactly the same thing. But before we adhere, I am going to use some pine branches to create my Christmas tree and to put these ornaments. These ornaments again come from the Winter Mini Dies, which I have die cut and assembled. It's very easy to assemble. I do need to apologize here that I was completely out of the screen while I was making this card. I did not realize this for a very long time, so you really can't see how I'm creating those floss to act like ornament hangers. But it's very simple. I just added these floss to the back of the tag and adhered it using this tape. I'm just showing you here very quickly. And then I just took those threads down, added a foam tape, and then behind the ornament and just adhered it on top of the floss. And you can see here I'm just adding that foam tape behind one of the die cuts, and I'm going to pull the thread down and make it really taut and nice, and then the foam tape on the ornament will hold that floss down. Now when I adhered everything, I realized my mint ornament is not really adhered directly onto the floss. It is a little wonky. I tried to remove it, but I couldn't, so I just left it there. So if you make this tag, remember to adhere that on the floss. And then I heat embossed gold, merry, and bright onto the tag directly. And I also want to add additional pine leaves, but before I do that, I do need to add my ribbon to the tag, so that way I know where exactly I will be adhering this pine branches to create the Christmas tree that I said. So it looks like these ornaments are hanging from a Christmas tree. So I'm just adding a few more pine leaves to this design. And then this particular die set also has some circles and some stars, which I'm going to add to the background to make it look like there's a background of lights twinkling behind us through the Christmas tree or in your house or wherever. Just imagine something. That's a fun part of creating cards and tags, is imagination. And that finished this tag. Now for the next tag here, I'm choosing the star nested die, and I'm taking actually two different sizes, the smallest one and the next size, and I'm going to take a, this time again, we're going to do a craft cardstock tag. And I'm going to die cut these stars in different places on this die cut. And once on this tag, and once I'm done with that, I'm also taking the positive side of these dies and I'm going to adhere them directly onto this craft cardstock to create a tone on tone look, but adding some interest to a very simple and basic tag. And once I've done adhering these pieces, I am going to put this tag onto a designer paper which comes from, I think it comes from Christmas, Country Christmas. And I'm trying to see which part of this paper would look nice peeking from the background. So I kind of like this place because the holly berry is quite visible from the back of that star, from that inside the star. And I'm just going to adhere this tag onto this paper using liquid glue, and then I'm going to cut around this this tag to create that tag shape. And you'll see here I'm just going to also cut the overhang of the star, and that's pretty much it. And then I've taken this vicious die cut, which has a shadow element as well, which I die cut using white, and the wishes itself using gold glitter cardstock. Now I did not want to cover my holly berry at the bottom, so I decided to adhere the wishes a little bit on the top side of the tag here. And then I'm going to adhere Christmas using some foam tape on top of the edge. And I went ahead and added the ribbon to my tag as well, and that finished that card. Sorry, not card, the tag. Now for this one here, I've taken this dark green cardstock and I've adhered that to my white tag. And then I've die cut this arch using the arches die, and I'm going to blend this in from the top, again creating a sky because we are going to build another scene here. And once I'm done with that, I have made some snowbanks again. You can see they're very easy, so it's repeating but just creating different designs, that's all. And I'm going to adhere the snowbanks onto this arch die cut. And then I've also taken elements from the winter house accessories dies, and I've chosen this truck, and I've adhered a tree onto this truck as if this guy is taking a Christmas tree. Of course, looks like he's really late because Santa's already flying over the city. So I don't know what's his plan is. If he's taking a tree for next year, no idea. But anyway, he's taking a tree. I just needed that. And I'm going to adhere the Santa sleigh on top of, like he's flying on the sky. I did have to cut one of the reindeers because it was too long. Otherwise, it was too long of an overhang for this little arch. And then I'm going to adhere this piece using foam tape onto this green cardstock. And then I've also chosen this belief sentiment, and I've adhered that to the bottom, and that finished that tag. Now for the next one here, these are mini ornaments, and I've chosen only those bulbs to die cut in different colored cardstock. And if you've guessed it, I am creating some wires to hang my bulbs from. This card did take me a long time because I created too many wires. I should have actually stopped here, but no, I had to add more. So I added a few more of those strings. Now, take it from me, if you are to recreate this, do not add as many of the strings that I have added, strings of lights I have added. But the end result is just stunning. So once I have mapped out where I want them, I am going with my black ink here and I am tracing over all of those strings. And once I've done doing that, I erase all the pencil mark and make it look like it's all drawn in black. And then I'm just taking this liquid glue and I'm adhering these bulbs in different colors onto the string. So it looks like a string of Christmas lights. And then remember, because this wire is turning around, the bulb will also change its position. See, like here in this case, the string of light has gone upwards, so that there would be a bulb on the top of that string. So as you're adhering, keep in mind the loops of the bulbs as well. And here pretty much I have completed this entire panel using those bulbs. Isn't that so cute? I really loved it. And to add some dimension, of course, or interest to these bulbs, I am adding black tops just by coloring the top edge, top part of the bulb with some black pen. If you know me, I love interest, I love details. It's all about the details, I always say, when you're making a card, even if it's the simplest one. And then I'm just adding this highlight using a white gel pen because I know if the bulb is lit up, there's definitely going to be a highlight on that bulb because it's glass and there's light from inside. So you're creating that little interest to that bulb too. And then I'm going to add this joy. Now when I die cut this joy, I didn't quite like the red and white. So I added this joy, another joy using metallic gold cardstock, not glitter, metallic. And I'm going to offset that metallic gold joy on that red. So that way it gives more dimension and layers. And that completed that card. Now, to the in order to address this card, all I did is just wrote to and from to the back of my tag to all of them so that you can personalize this tag to the one you are gifting the present to. Very simple. And here are the 10 cards that we created. Aren't they so pretty? I mean, I really love them. I know it sounds like I'm bragging about my work, but honestly, they turned out so cute. Leave me a message down or leave me a comment if you like to see something different, if this is something that you're interested in seeing. Are you going to make tags? Let me know how you feel about these. And here are some close-ups of these tags that we created. I hope you enjoyed this video and I gave you some ideas to create tags. I will see you next time. Bye bye.